It was a Tuesday night in late November. I had school the next day, but I was nowhere close to tired. My parents had gone to bed early, the house was quiet, and I ended up on Omegle out of pure boredom. I'd used it before, so I knew how it usually goes. It was mostly trolls and guys playing patty cake with themselves. I kept skipping, searching for someone interesting enough to intrigue me. I cycled through maybe a dozen people before I landed on the guy who looked about my age. He was sitting in a dim room. I couldn't make out much. The glow of his monitor lit his face. He was wearing a black hoodie, and there was a blank wall behind him. He looked like any quiet, forgettable guy you'd pass in a parking lot. I was about to skip him too, when he nodded his head and mumbled a hi. "I'm Jake." I smiled. "Brandon." We did the usual small talk. Where are you from? What time is it there? He seemed calm. I remember thinking he was one of the more normal people I'd connected with. Until he said, "You're from Ohio, right?" My heart skipped a beat. "How did you know that?" He smiled. "Lucky guess." I brushed it off. Maybe something in my background tipped him off. I didn't think too hard about it, but then he started talking about my room. He knew the layout. "I like the teak wood of your table. You placed it right against the wall, and that Naruto poster above your monitor is stunning." My stomach went tight. "How do you know what my room looks like?" I stuttered. He only kept smiling and whispered my full name. I hadn't typed it anywhere. My Omegle session had nothing attached to my identity at all. There was no way he should have known it. "What did you just say?" "Jake Anderson." He giggled. I felt the blood drain out of my face. "How do you know my name?" He leaned slightly closer to his camera, grinning ear to ear, and told me to turn around. Everything in me went cold. "What?" "I said, turn around. Look behind you." I didn't want to. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to not take my eyes off the screen. But I did. I turned around slowly in my chair and looked at my room. Everything exactly where it was supposed to be. Nobody there. I felt stupid for freaking out over a weirdo on the internet. Annoyed, I turned back to the screen. He was still watching me. "Good," he said. "You're still alone." He giggled and dropped the call. I blinked and sat there staring at a black screen, heart hammering, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Suddenly, my phone buzzed on the desk. It was an unknown number. I opened it and felt the floor drop out from under me. It was a snap of mine, taken from behind, over my shoulder. It looked like someone had clicked it from inside my room. I could see the back of my own head, my monitor, and the Omegle interface still open on the screen. The timestamp on the photo matched the call exactly. Whoever took it had been standing right behind me while I was talking to that dude on the screen. I spun around so fast I knocked my chair back and tore through my room. I checked every single corner, but the room was empty. I ran downstairs and called 911. I couldn't even get the words out straight. I told them someone had been in my house, that I had proof. They said they'd send someone. I sat on the living room couch with every light in the house on and waited. By the time the officers showed up, my parents were right beside me. They searched the whole place, but everything was normal until one of them called out from the kitchen. He had found a dead crow in the sink with its wings torn clean off. Its feathers matted in blood, smeared across the white porcelain. It hadn't been there when I came downstairs. My family didn't even own a bird. The second officer checked the back door. The lock had been forced. Someone had broken in, left that thing in our sink, stood over my shoulder long enough to take a photograph, and walk out without making a sound. They took the photo as evidence. They asked if I recognized the man from the call. I didn't. They said they'd investigate and told my parents to change the locks. My mom couldn't stop shaking. My dad didn't say much, but he kept walking through the house long after the officers left, checking things they'd already checked. We didn't sleep that night. All of us sat in the living room with the lights blazing until the sun came up. The police never found him. They didn't even have a trace to begin with. The case went cold within a few weeks. I've had a lot of time to think about it since, and have come up with a lot of permutations and combinations, but nothing makes sense yet. How could he know my whole name? How did he show up in my house while my parents slept downstairs and snap a pic while I sat in the same room? And what's up with the crow? Was it a message or a demonstration of some sort? Maybe he wanted me to know that he could get to me whenever he decided to, that my locks, my sleeping parents, and my sense of being safe in my own room meant absolutely nothing to him. It has been years. I stopped using Omegle the same night. I don't chat with strangers on random platforms, but because I learned something that night that I can't unlearn. Sometimes the stranger on the other side of the screen isn't on the other side at all, and by the time you find out, they're already close enough to take a picture.